I got the email at 2:14 in the morning. I wasn't even expecting anything. Just up late, restless again. I opened my inbox, out of habit, and there it was, her name. After everything, I hadn't seen it in months. My chest tightened. My eyes froze on the subject line. Do you still think about me? That was all it took. The memories came rushing in like a wave I couldn't stop. I didn't even know what I was feeling. Shock, hurt, maybe a little hope. Stupid, I know, but that's what love does to you, or whatever it was I had with her. I opened the email. It was short, polite, like we were just two people who drifted apart. But I didn't just drift. I unraveled. I thought I was too old to fall that hard again. But she knew exactly what to say. The way she looked at me, the way she made me feel seen, it was everything I didn't know I still needed. And I gave it all. I left my job, my savings, my common sense, for a smile and a dream I thought was ours. Now I sit here, alone, reading her email under flickering kitchen light, wondering, was any of it even real? If you've ever asked yourself that, if you've ever loved someone so much it made you forget who you were, I hope you'll stay with me. Please like this video, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. I read every single one, and to those of you who keep coming back, video after video, super thank you. You're the reason I keep sharing these hard truths. This isn't easy to talk about, but if it helps just one person feel less alone, it's worth it. So, let me take you back to where it all started. I can still feel the sand between my toes from that night on Jomtien Beach. Chanika was walking beside me, her hand warm in mine, talking about dreams I thought only young people had anymore. Gerald, I want to do something meaningful with my life, she said, stopping to face the moonlit water. Something that matters. I squeezed her hand tighter. At 64, I thought I'd forgotten what hope felt like. You already are, I told her. The work you do with the NGO, helping people, that's more meaningful than anything I ever did behind a customs desk. She turned to me then, those dark eyes catching the light. You see me, she whispered. Really see me? My chest tightened. When was the last time anyone had said that to me? When was the last time I'd felt necessary? I see someone extraordinary, I said, and meant every word. She smiled, that same smile that had unraveled me completely. I've been waiting my whole life for someone like you, Gerald. Someone who understands what real love means. The waves crashed against our feet as I pulled her closer. I should have known then. I should have heard the practice rhythm in her voice, the way the words came too easily. But all I could think was that somehow, impossibly, I'd found her. Or she'd found me. I never thought I'd feel this way again, I admitted. After my divorce, after retirement, I thought I was done with all this. She touched my face gently. You're not done, darling. You're just beginning. That night, walking back to my condo, I felt like the last good man in the world, and she'd chosen me. The medical outreach clinic was sweltering that day 3 months earlier. I'd only gone because the expat community center suggested volunteering might help with the loneliness eating through my retirement savings and my sanity. Burnaby felt like another lifetime. 23 years processing customs forms, coming home to an empty house after Martha left, watching the same shows every night until I couldn't stand my own reflection anymore. Thailand was supposed to be my escape. Cheap living, warm weather, maybe some peace. I never expected her. Excuse me, do you speak English? Her voice cut through the chaos of crying children and worried mothers. I turned and there she was, clipboard in hand, looking overwhelmed but determined. I do, I said. Gerald Morrison, just moved here from Canada. Chanika Shrisai. I coordinate these clinics, but our translator didn't show up and she gestured helplessly at the crowd. I studied some Thai before coming here, I lied. I'd learned maybe 20 words, but something about her made me want to help, to be useful again. For the next 4 hours, we fumbled through translations together, her Thai filling in where my vocabulary failed, my English helping her explain procedures to confused volunteers. She never once made me feel stupid. "You saved us today," she said as we packed up. "I don't know what we would have done." "Happy to help," I said, trying not to stare at the way she moved, efficient but graceful. "Actually," she hesitated, then looked directly at me. "Would you like to get dinner as a thank you?" I almost said no, almost defaulted to my usual evening of instant noodles and British comedy reruns. Instead, I said yes. That dinner lasted 4 hours. She told me about growing up in Pattaya, about studying social work in Bangkok, about wanting to make a difference in communities that had been forgotten. I told her about customs work, about the divorce, about feeling invisible in my own life. "You're not invisible to me," she said as we shared our second bottle of wine. "You have kind eyes, patient eyes. That's rare." When I walked her to her motorbike that night, she kissed my cheek. "Thank you, Gerald, for today, for tonight, for listening." I watched her drive away and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Purpose. Moving in together happened gradually, then all at once. First, it was just for tonight after a late dinner. Then, just until I find a better place. Then her clothes appeared in my closet, her shampoo in my shower, her motorbike parked permanently next to my rental car. I didn't mind. I paid the rent anyway, and the silence had been killing me. "I don't want you to think I'm using you," she said one morning over coffee, wearing my old university t-shirt. "I know how this looks." "It looks like I'm the luckiest man in Pattaya," I said, and she laughed. But even then, there were things. Phone calls that made her step onto the balcony, speaking rapid Thai I couldn't follow. Money disappearing from my wallet, never much, but consistently. "I borrowed some cash for the clinic," she'd say, or "the motorbike needed gas." I never asked for it back. Her roommate, Noi, was another puzzle. She'd mentioned him casually that first week, a friend from university who helped with the NGO work. But whenever I suggested meeting him, she changed the subject. "He's shy around foreigners," she explained. "Maybe later." Later never came. Sometimes I'd call, and she wouldn't answer for hours. "Sorry, darling, I was at the clinic," she'd say, when she finally called back. But there was noise in the background that didn't sound like a medical facility. Music, laughter, men's voices. "Where exactly was the clinic today?" I asked once. "Oh, we moved locations. Very remote, poor phone service." It made sense. Everything made sense when she explained it. I wanted it to make sense. One night I woke up to find her side of the bed empty. The bathroom light was on, and I could hear her whispering urgently into her phone. "Can't keep doing this." He's getting suspicious. No, not yet. When she came back to bed, I pretended to be asleep. "Bad news from the clinic?" I asked the next morning. "Just work stress," she said, but wouldn't meet my eyes. I should have pressed. I should have asked harder questions. Instead, I made her breakfast and told myself that love meant trust. That doubt was just my insecurity talking. That a woman like her wouldn't be with a man like me unless it was real. The fight started over groceries. I'd noticed my credit card bill was higher than usual, mostly small charges at places I'd never been. When I asked Janika about it, she got defensive immediately. "Are you checking up on me now?" she said, throwing down her purse. "Where's this coming from, Gerald?" "I'm not checking up on anyone. I just noticed some charges I didn't recognize, and I thought maybe..." "Maybe what? Maybe I'm stealing from you?" Her voice rose. "Maybe I'm just here for your money?" The hurt in her voice made me backtrack instantly. "No, that's not what I meant. I just wanted to understand." "Understand what? That I bought groceries for us? That I put gas in my bike so I can get to work? That I occasionally buy things we need without asking your permission first?" She was crying now, and I felt like the worst kind of bastard. "Janika, please, I didn't mean..." "You're just like the others," she said through her tears. "You think because you're foreign, because you have money, that Thai women are only interested in what they can take from you. That's not true. I don't think that about you. But even as I said it, I wondered if some part of me did. Yes, you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be questioning every baht I spend. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Where are you going? To Noise. I need space to think. Chanika, wait. Let's talk about this. She stopped at the door, not turning around. Do you trust me, Gerald? The question hung in the air like smoke. I wanted to say yes, immediately, completely without reservation. But the hesitation in my voice betrayed me. Yes. Yes, I trust you. You hesitated. She turned around then, and her eyes were cold. You don't trust me. You think I'm scamming you. I don't think that. Then why did you question me about the charges? Because I couldn't finish the sentence without confirming her accusation. Because you don't trust me, she said. Fine. Maybe some time apart will help you figure out what you really think of me. She left that night and didn't come back. For 2 days, I paced the condo, replaying the conversation, hating myself for doubting her. When she finally returned, I apologized immediately. I was wrong, I said. Completely wrong. I do trust you. She let me hold her, but something had changed. Something had shifted that I couldn't quite name. Marco cornered me by the pool 3 weeks later. Italian guy, mid-50s. Been in Thailand for 8 years. The kind of expat who'd seen everything twice. Your girlfriend, he said without preamble, lighting a cigarette. Chanika, right? I nodded, immediately defensive. What about her? Nothing. Just, I think I saw her last week. At that bar near Walking Street, with some Thai guy. My stomach clenched. You sure it was her? Pretty sure. They looked close. I wanted to tell him he was wrong, that Chanika didn't go to bars, that she was working late at the clinic. Instead, I asked, what do you mean close? Marco shrugged. Just close, like they knew each other well. That night, I called Vera back in Burnaby, my old colleague from customs, one of the few people who still checked on me. Gerald, how's paradise? Her voice was warm, familiar. It made me homesick. It's good. Really good. I met someone. Oh, tell me everything. I tried to describe Chanika, to explain what she meant to me, but the words came out wrong. Too desperate, too needy. She sounds lovely, Vera said when I finished. But Gerald, honey, you sound. Sound what? Stressed. Are you okay? I wanted to tell her about the money, about Noi, about Marco's comment. Instead, I said, just adjusting to a new life. It's a big change. If you ever need to talk, really talk, you know I'm here, right? After we hung up, I sat on the balcony looking out at the city lights. Chanika was working late again, some crisis at the clinic, or at least that's what she'd told me. I thought about calling her, asking where she was exactly, but I could already hear her response. You don't trust me. So I didn't call. I sat there wondering when love had started feeling like walking on broken glass, when caring about someone had become a constant exercise in talking myself out of my own instincts. But I told myself it was just adjustment, just the insecurity of an old man with a young, beautiful woman. I told myself a lot of things that night. I came home early that Tuesday because the heat had given me a headache. The condo was supposed to be empty. Chanika was at a workshop in Bangkok, wouldn't be back until evening. But I heard the shower running. My first thought was that she'd come back early, that I could surprise her. My second thought was that the voice humming in the bathroom was definitely male. I stood in the hallway, key still in my hand, listening to a man singing Thai pop songs in my shower, using my soap, my towel, probably standing where I stood every morning. When the water stopped, I didn't move, couldn't move. Footsteps. The bathroom door opening. A young Thai man emerged, towel around his waist, and froze when he saw me. We stared at each other for what felt like an hour. He was maybe 30, lean and tattooed, with the easy confidence of someone who belonged here more than I did. Noi? I asked. He nodded, said something in Thai I didn't understand, then grabbed his clothes and disappeared into the bedroom. My bedroom. The bedroom Chanika and I shared. I heard him getting dressed, heard him making a phone call, rapid and urgent. Then he emerged fully clothed, said sorry in accented English, and left. I sat on the couch and waited. Janika came home 3 hours later, cheerful and chattering about her workshop. "How was your day, darling?" she asked, kissing my cheek like nothing had happened. "Noi was here," I said. She froze, her purse halfway to the table. "Oh, he needed to use the shower. His building's water was cut off. He has a key. It wasn't a question. I gave him one for emergencies." "What kind of emergencies?" She sighed. That exasperated sound I'd learned to dread. "Gerald, he's my friend. My oldest friend. Sometimes he needs help. In our bedroom? What are you implying?" But her voice was different now. Colder. "I'm not implying anything. I'm asking directly. What is your relationship with Noi?" She looked at me for a long moment, and I saw something shift in her expression. The mask I hadn't even realized she was wearing began to slip. "You really want to know?" she said. "Yes." She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "He's my boyfriend, Gerald. Has been for 2 years. The words hit like a physical blow. "Then what am I?" "You're a very sweet man who takes care of us." The casual cruelty of it, the matter-of-fact tone, was worse than screaming would have been. "Takes care of you?" "The rent, the car, the money for the clinic. You've been very generous." I thought you loved me. I do love you, in my way. But you knew what this was, Gerald. You had to know. But I hadn't known. I'd believed every word, every kiss, every whispered promise. I'd believed in us. "Get out," I said quietly. "Gerald, get out, both of you now." She gathered her things without another word. At the door, she turned back. "You'll be okay," she said almost gently. "You're stronger than you think." Then she was gone, and I was alone with the sound of my own breathing and the smell of unfamiliar soap in my bathroom. The landlady knocked on my door the next morning. Mrs. Siwanan, 60-something, spoke broken English but had kind eyes. She was carrying a plate of mango and a concerned expression. "You okay?" she asked. "Lady friend leave?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. She sat down uninvited, studied my face. "She not first," she said carefully. "Before you have German man. Before him, American man. Same. My stomach dropped. Same what? Same story. Nice foreign man. Lonely. She very sweet, very helpful. Then many problems, need money. Then gone." She patted my hand maternally. "You good man." She take advantage. I spent the rest of that day going through my finances, adding up what I'd spent in 6 months. The rent I'd paid in advance because she said the landlord preferred it. The motorbike I'd bought her for work. The clinic donations that went directly to her account. The visa runs, the phone bills, the endless small expenses that added up to more than my annual pension. Nearly $20,000. For what? For the privilege of being lied to every day? For the honor of funding her real relationship while believing I was in one? I found a notebook where she'd written down my ATM pin for emergencies. Found receipts for restaurants I'd never been to, for hotels I'd never seen. Found a second phone charger that wasn't for any phone I'd ever seen her use. The evidence had been there all along. I'd just chosen not to see it. That evening, I deleted her photos from my phone. 43 pictures of us together, smiling, laughing, her arm around me or my arm around her. In every single one, I looked happy. Genuinely, completely happy. She looked pleasant. like she was posing for a tourist who'd asked her to be in their vacation photo. I kept one picture, not of us together, but of her alone, taken while she was looking at her phone. In that unguarded moment, I could see it. The calculation, the distance, the complete absence of anything real. How had I missed it? How had I been so blind? 3 weeks later, I found myself back at Jomtien Beach. Not by plan, just by habit. My feet had carried me there, while my mind was elsewhere. The same stretch of sand where she'd told me I was different, where she'd made me believe in second chances and late-in-life love. It looked smaller in daylight, less magical. Just a beach with too many tourists and not enough shade. I sat where we used to sit and tried to remember what hope felt like. A vendor approached, trying to sell me coconut water. "You want fresh coconut? Very sweet." I shook my head, but she persisted. "For girlfriend? Where your girlfriend?" "No girlfriend," I said. "Ah, sorry," she said, genuinely sympathetic. "Thai girlfriend very difficult for foreign man. Many broken heart here." She gestured vaguely at the beach, as if it were littered with the casualties of cross-cultural romance. Maybe it was. I stayed until sunset, watching couples walk hand in hand along the water's edge. Young couples, old couples, mixed couples like Chinika and I had been. Some of them looked genuinely happy. Others looked like they were performing happiness for each other, going through the motions of romance without the substance. I wondered which category we'd fallen into for observers. Had people looked at us and seen love? Or had they seen what Mrs. Siwanon and Marco had seen? Had our deception been obvious to everyone except me? When I finally got up to leave, I realized I hadn't been looking for her in the crowd. For the first time in weeks, I hadn't scanned every face hoping to catch a glimpse of her. I wasn't sure if that was progress or just exhaustion. On the walk back to my condo, I passed the medical clinic where we'd met. It was closed, had been for months according to a sign on the door. Relocated due to funding issues, it said in English and Thai. I wondered if it had ever been real, or if that too had been part of the performance. I wondered if anything had been real. So here I am, 6 months later, talking to a camera, because somehow telling this story feels important. Not for sympathy, not for advice, but because maybe someone else needs to hear it. I'm still in Thailand. Still in the same condo, though I moved to a smaller unit I can afford on my pension alone. Still trying to figure out what comes next for a 64-year-old man who learned too late that loneliness can make you stupid. I think about her sometimes. Not every day anymore, but sometimes. I wonder if she's moved on to another lonely expat, another kind-eyed man who believes in second chances. I wonder if she ever thinks about me, or if I was just another transaction in a ledger I'll never see. The worst part isn't the money, though that stings. It's not even the betrayal, though that cut deep. It's that some part of me still misses her, still misses the version of her she showed me, even knowing it was a performance. Still misses feeling needed, feeling chosen, feeling like I mattered to someone. That's the real cruelty of it. She didn't just take my money. She took my ability to trust my own feelings. Now, when I meet someone new, when I feel that flutter of interest or connection, I immediately start analyzing it. Is this real? Are they performing? Am I being foolish again? Maybe that's the price of wisdom. Maybe you can't learn to spot the fake without losing some ability to believe in the real. I've made some actual friends here now. Other expats who've been through similar experiences. Thai people who aren't interested in my wallet, locals who just want to practice their English or share a meal. It's not the grand romance I thought I'd found, but it's honest. It's real. And maybe that's enough. They never told me this about Thai love, about any love really. That it can feel completely real, even when it's completely fake. That you can be in love while the other person is simply at work. That the heart wants to believe so badly it'll ignore evidence that the mind can clearly see. I don't regret coming here. Thailand gave me more than it took, even counting Chinika. It gave me a chance to be someone different, to step outside the small life I'd built in Burnaby. It showed me I could still feel things deeply, even if those feelings were misdirected. But if you're watching this and you're thinking about taking that leap, about following your heart to a strange country for someone who seems too good to be true, just remember this. Sometimes they are. Too good to be true, I mean. And sometimes that's exactly what they are. True. The hard part is telling the difference. I'm still working on that myself,